heading their way back towards that grand final from the lower bracket. The first and second seeded teams from within the region in terms of the current performance of the region that is, and I don't say this in any small way, dominating this competition.
They definitely have been. Don't know if you, by the way, just heard of it. As soon as the map loaded up, so as soon as the start button was pressed, you know, as we good casters do every now and then, everybody, like, they all started cheering already as well. So the mental is really going strong. They are ready to go. They are waiting to get underway on Cafe. Both these teams hungry to make sure they make the top 4 of the Six Invitational 2021. Hopefully for them, have an opportunity on lifting that hammer, because that's what it's all about here. LATAM currently has the best chance it's ever had. NIP came really close last year. And they're in the mix again, actually. Top 3 confirmed. They are in the upper bracket final, and maybe, who knows, are going to be able to well, put themselves up in the grand finals. But that's not now. No, this is
that's a little bit ahead of ourselves.
A little bit ahead of ourselves.
A little bit ahead of ourselves.
The other 2 LATAM teams that we're talking about right
now. Yeah, 2 of the 4 LATAM teams that are fighting for the place and playing, obviously TSM, who are able to push themselves forward to the situation of looking at, I guess, 2 more games? 2 more games on that run across the lower bracket now. Bar and Cocktail, we start off. This is a map which we talked about a little bit earlier. It was severely hidden the entire time, the entire run, by Liquid. And we watched them play a game on it and absolutely decimate it.
That was it, right? It was hidden and we're like, well, you know, could go away.
Yeah, it's this curious moment, because we've seen it a few times from FaZe. We've seen Cafe at least twice, I believe, over this tournament. Even more. Liquid had banned it consistently across the leagues in regional play up until this point. And then they played it earlier today, and yeah, they slapped on it.
I think that is a good summary. They definitely slapped on it, and now they're going to try and redo that. But we're finding ourselves in an famous LATAM matchup again, and those normally do not really look like what we're used to be seeing from for example, LATAM against NA. These teams know each other through and through. They know their weaknesses and will try to exploit them. And sometimes that requires a little bit more pace, a little bit more aggression than normally would be brought. Either way, the action phase is underway, the first of many here that we will still have throughout this best of 3. And let's see who's going to be starting off this scoreline, who's going to be picking up this first round. As FaZe is setting themselves up to go to that top 4, hatches will be opened up, and all that allows them to get these drones in. But already 3 taken out quite quickly.
Yeah, cool. As you said, quickly dropped. I like the pickup here of the Warden, because what we've seen from the quick approaches on FaZe on the top floor is a lot of smokes, a lot of cover, a lot of let's obscure sight lines on what is a pretty tough skylight to drop in, which they've done a couple of times. We've said sometimes too much.
Yeah.
They've kind of dedicated themselves to the push. To be fair, though, for all the times that that's sort of been mentioned, they only really hammered it down in their first showing against BDS. And then since then, I think they sort of learned, well, we can tweak a couple of things and we can bring a slightly different approach here, and that's what they've opted for. It's the pressure around the top of Red and Cigar. That's a lot of stuns into the eyes of a shotgun that's getting a little bit of support from the Jaeger around the backside. Nesk has sort of gravitated towards that door of the Cigar shop, but there's not been the follow-up pressure from FaZe yet, and we're seeing a lot of utility thrown in. Here comes the controller space. There goes the smoke canisters, and you're assuming a man with a special set of goggles. Well, he is waiting patiently to absolutely tear them up.
Oh, the moment the goggles will run out, it's going to be able to at least pick up 1 kill, and with that, drop that diffuser. Was aware of the fact that the man dropped down on the new balcony. As kills come down either way, it's going to be the question whether or not that diffuser can be recovered, and if they can try and get that plan down in these last 60 seconds, because Paulo seems well aware of the position of the member right next to him.
Nesk desperately trying to set himself up inside the Cigar shop as the cover actually comes over the side, hoping that baits the play round on the split, but it's Palu. In the meantime, confirms and locks off one more. That is a very isolated body underneath the new Balk right now. He's going for a bit of a swing and a swan either way, as he's intensely alone, and that's the big problem. It's a big, big blow of space as he's finally able to get a little bit of a shoulder of support here, but Nesk's on the door. He gets locked out instead, and Astro gets a vital pick, but with only 20 seconds left, and this huge bout of no man's land with the deployable camera offering cover. Palu just going to swip for a quad. He's going to go find the fifth, hopefully, as he hops over the side of Lumber. There it is. There's an ace.
It was the battle of the aces, wasn't it? I think, was it Astro that had a quad kill as well, or was I completely mistaken in that one? I might have completely missed that. No, okay, completely missed that. I thought when as Astro managed to pick up a kill, at the same time, Palu got the shot down onto the member that was downed, and it's that quad kill. I'm like, ooh, is this going to be like the battle of the quads here? But no. Mind me, Palu starting it off strong. Liquid with round number 1 under their belt.
I was going to say, that's maybe one of the first Warden aces.
I think it might be.
In the history of Siege. But then you're like, oh, it's an MPX in Latin American hands.
Well, and it's Palu.
And it's Palu. It's entirely two entirely fair points that bring, I think, Warden to an Excel point. It was that back line, and they set up that operator and that hold for just that reason, for him to have a big impact. They didn't obviously set it up for the ace clutch situation with a sliver of health. And you've got curiosity piqued by an operator.
I've got my curiosity piqued. I'm gonna spell it out. Amaru. Yeah, Chowder. Take that.
Okay, so it was on Twitter. People were asking why do they pronounce it Amaru, because a lot of people pronounce it Amaru.
Yeah.
And I think technically either's fine, but we wanted to be petty about it because someone else was involved and China was involved. So we messaged some of the people that work at Ubi, the script writer, Simon. Lovely, lovely person. And they went through the recordings for us. Didn't have to. Went through the recordings of us. Amaru.
Because I remembered that Harry said it once during SI 2020 Stadium event.
In the Stadium event, it was said by Harry. And, you know, if anyone's going to pronounce it right, Harry.
Yeah, so, you know, he's the employee. I assume he knows how to...
That's how he says it.
That's how he says it. And that's why I pick it up like that. So, I mean, you know...
Maybe, so if we're wrong, Harry's wrong, and
he's
inside the world, and you can't fight a character that's inside the canon of the world of the game. Okay, Team Liquid, 1-0. Amaru's on the board. They're in the position of Souls with a diffuser. I love the idea of the hatch coming up from underneath here on Freezer. It's instantly, I really want this to happen. It's dangerous. It's been played once that I've seen in recollection of that play. You just dig yourself up behind the dining table. But it takes a lot of situational awareness from your team and a lack of situational awareness from the defenders to be able to pull it off. And they've built themselves on a method of slight control. Cyber wants to be the first swing around to the back of the Freezer here. Pops, but doesn't get rocked as the follow-up. Liquid, they're not throwing themselves too aggressively at these fights.
Definitely haven't been yet. There's no need to. They can just stay put, let FaZe come to them. Like, FaZe is running the rush strategy here, you gotta say. Well, rush the higher paced one, considering they have the Amaru. And, well, there it comes. The grappling hook is ready to go in. They're just waiting for the call to be made. And there you go. Souls is inside. He's going to be receiving some damage right there, but they're well aware of his position. Will be able to pick up 1. Is going to be able to pick up 2. That is the big question here. As he goes prone next to the dining table. Yes, will be able to pick up 2. And Cyber moves up the stairs and grabs another one as well. It's going to be Palu that strikes back, however. A 3-on-2. Sees one spot. No, he does not. And it is going to be Cameraman and Cyber to lock it off. FaZe are able to draw it back up with a quick Amaru just entering, able to pick up a double kill. And with that, they managed to snowball up onto the white stairs, dropping back down, getting the kills and reading and everywhere else. 1-1.
Back and forth. And I think anything else was a false expectation at this point. I am so excited to see how this game just progresses because both these teams know exactly what's on the line. Both these teams know the situation and position they're in is one of everything or nothing. They have to give it all on this last game of this day to have that spot, that progression, and that chance at lifting the hammer. They both have found themselves already in a situation of battling many, many different giants and behemoths of the scene, but these are two that were, for a lot of people, favorites. And I guess we're in a situation of there's only really a couple of favorites left. There's still this big swan of the Latin American region all the way across the board, and they want to be there. They want to be the ones that get to bring that one home.
Every team wants to be the team that is going to be the first SI winner of LATAM. NA has to. Europe has to. Someone needs to take it home here. And while there is currently 4 LATAM teams still trying to fight for it, 1 will be eliminated here, but that will still leave 3 left. And then we are still having the North American team in the mix as well, Team Solo Mid. Looking to, well, make it happen, really. Because I think if you're looking at the actual favorites that we appointed at the start of the SI, there's only currently 2 left. And that is TSM and Liquid. And currently, both in the lower bracket. So neither of those will be having the map advantage throughout the grand final. So a bit big to fight back in. First, they're going to have to make it through. Oh, that's an unlucky bounce on the drone right there. Cameraman will have to rethrow that one, and now will succeed getting it further than you would like to have. And as Souls is playing on that Kali, he's going to be having the opportunity to watch these long angles. Just a single shot is all you need to down or DPNO one of these operators, and as the smoke will pop, that allows the potential of the Selma to pop, but I believe that was an impact grenade indeed that was tossed in, and that will force Astro to go for a second Selma. The second one will miss, however, Sexy Cake will not.
Well, that's a big pick, and being able to get away without being punished in revenge as Astro is off the board, you lose. Obviously, the remaining Selmas there, it makes the break and the breach here on this close corners around the side of the bakery a lot tougher with the double down hard on that back wall. You do still have gun skill and you have a lock off, but positions like the Kali now, Souls is going to have a tougher time swinging in with anything other than that SMG. The long barrel in that gun won't be able to tear through the angles all the way deep towards Code as we've seen it played before. PSK still off on the loose on the roam, holding above and keeping himself occupied and busy, with Nesk also raising curiosities, but FaZe have gone for a bit of a big rotate here. They're double-checking themselves inside the back of VIP. They're looking for the fight round the door, and Nesk sees someone but slips away. Doesn't want to take the confrontation just yet, and that allows Cyber to buy some room and space for Bullet to start the pressure coming in from Coat.
It's often a critique to not instantly go for a re-peek, and indeed will do so, saving his life, giving away the information that a player is out there and decides to save his life. You never know when it will come in handy later. Because if you go for that re-peek, you might just be shot at by 2 of these players as Cyber is trying to clear out Dining and take control of that hatch. Will do so, and well, in the meantime, it's Sexy Cake that will be able to pick up a kill as Paolo now drops as well.
Well, PSK around the backside gets taken out in Zulu, and Cyber. He's always that man that you sort of look to as the drive and the fire inside FaZe, but it's Nesk that gets some revenge on Bullet inside Coat. Steadily Souls is cracking his way through a wall, but with 15 seconds, well, he finally pops off the last bit of the lock, and he's going to try and stick this diffuser around the backside, the smoke canisters. All kept in pocket. Cook a man, push him into an uncomfortable situation. He only has an option to go for a fight, but it's a loose run away. And Moringa slips out of there.
Has to run indeed. A teammate there died and had to make sure that they had the opportunity to still win that round. So what you do then is just run. Wait for the timer to hit 0-0-0 and you try and push back towards the site as that would fix. Of course, the potential of the plant there is you could then take him out. Nothing they could do, go off and lose the round or stay on and get killed. Beautiful shot there from Sexy Cake. Just waiting for the Selma to pop. But that again, beautiful shots for him coming down.
Yeah, very big picks there. And the ability to sort of, you know, it plucked away at that approach. I said at the start of it, Liquid weren't being too massively aggressive and that they weren't kind of actively peeking the outside. They could tell where the approach was coming from. But then as soon as the walls started to fall, if they were in a position to, they were like, yeah, I could take this fight. I could take this fight. I could put some damage in, and did, dropping the haze first and limiting those Selmas when the initial approach was that attempt on Bakery was such a big blow to FaZe. They came up with a good rotation and idea, heading back over the top and finding those loose players as well, built on the work of Cyber. But when you find yourself having to come up with a plan B quite quickly, it does leave you a little bit scarpered for time.
Does leave you little on time indeed, and going back to the top floor now, Liquid are preparing.
10 seconds remaining.
New Drummer set up, Banshee set up. I believe, oh, no, we do not see the, okay, I was going to say we do not see the extension into Pixel, but we do now. No ADSs, however. Means that the shield will just be given him, oh, there, okay, never mind, I didn't say anything. Oh, where's Ness?
He's smashing benches. He has to do the appropriate destruction.
I saw him run off after, so I'm like, well, he's not going to put down any ADSs, because otherwise you'd do that first, but no. Never mind. I didn't critique you. I was just under the impression that you might have forgot. But they're still down, and that means that Pixel will be a tough spot to deal with again. Not as tough as it used to be, mind you, because when the ADS has had 2 charges, it's literally toss everything you had at it. You might be able to take care of the shield, even with a Momai sometimes playing there, which is of course banned right now.
The Capital removal against FaZe has been something that makes this push for them a lot tougher. They were a consistent pick and play of Capital on this site in general, usually in the hands of Cameraman. I believe was the one who brought the mantle of those smokes to pop inside the corners. They've sort of set themselves up for a similar operator take, potentially a similar lineup as they had before. They have a lot of flashes to burn all the ADSs to make sure that those 2 frags or 2 smokes click where they need to. You have the track stings as well to limit some of the movement, but it seems like it's a little bit more of a minor part in terms of the push itself.
Yeah, it definitely is, and you need to get rid of these players as well, and that is something they were struggling with the last time around, so now Bullet trying to make that happen with a grenade, but it's just being blindly tossed in and will not be doing too much damage. Palu not really struggling from it, not really worrying about it. And as a result, they still don't really have a pick. They want to drop, but it looks like they might be relocating now as 2 men are repelled up on the eastern side, and well, Cameraman right here on the southern side is looking to maybe put up some pressure onto Planks or maybe even into the bathroom. I'm not quite sure.
Wow, this is an intense amount of pressure around the back line. They've gone for a slightly alternate pick here, and Bullet's the first one able to make it happen. Cameraman digs himself deep, but didn't see the man hopped up on the lumber, but it's a quick slew of bloodies and bodies all over the top of the floor here. The top of white falls into the hands of Cyber, who's trying to find the fight on the backside with Bullet steadily approaching from the other off as the split goes for the double. In the meantime, Cyber's been able to take over the site for a second before Palu finds himself yet again the last man standing in this situation, yet again with only a sliver of health, but luckily and thankfully a huge amount of intel. The camera goes. So does a lot of the time now. 30 seconds for Bullet to steady his way through. Doesn't have any more frags, but does at least have a rough idea of where the man was seen last. Look at the diffuser though. It's far away. It's out the building. Bullet has to take this fight. He does not have the time to try and get it and go for anything other than just a 1 versus 1, and that's how the game's going to be played, pre-firing towards the freezer, trying to work on the little info that they have, which is very little. Hops around the back, doesn't see him, sprays through, and that'll give a bit of the intel away. Palu's behind the bar, hopped up, and gets 1 more round for Liquid.
Stays patient there and doesn't move, just holds tight behind the safe spot, holding off one of these angles, and as the sound comes in, he knows exactly where his opponent is going to be coming from. And as a result, pops up at the very final second, right before he would be seen himself. And catches the man off guard while still running. Moringa right there, just popping up out of the smoke. Able to pick up a kill before being taken care of himself by Cyber. Taking some very important kills, dropping that diffuser down on the balcony, for example, really crucial in making sure Liquid stay ahead, because that forces FaZe to hunt for these kills. There is no way they can get the plan down, and they now need to get those kills. They failed to do so, and Liquid does win the round. 1-3. Current scoreline. Reading Room Fireplace is going up next. Let's see what the setup will look like. Last time around, we saw a quick push coming down from FaZe. Amaru able to put up some big damage, allowing Cyber to rotate up to the white stairs as the player already took care. Sex Cake, I believe it was. No, not Sex Cakes. Other side, Cameraman. Took care of the Souls. Sorry, took care of the player onto the white stairs. Allows Cyber to rotate up and then get the top floor control. And with that, you start snowballing the actual site. And as we are 1-3 up, FaZe chose to not go for the Amaru, which is logical because you're not going to be pulling that play off twice. They would find a way to adapt to it. Either a player is going to be playing inside a train, will be able to hold it off a bit closer. Maybe a frost mat would have been put up there to make sure that the repel in wasn't going to be as successful. None of that is the case, of course. Like, Liquid will continue to play their own game currently, and FaZe will try and find out what that game will be. They'll use their drones, and Cyber is at the bottom of the white stairs waiting to be droned in and waiting to get some information, as that is a very early pop from the smoke. Ringa doesn't scare it away though, he's just holding that with a shotgun, hoping someone will come close.
Yeah, they're playing the utility early. We've seen them put pressure with the utility early and not quite have the follow-up, but they are, a team that adapts and moves and is a bit malleable when they need to be. There is the tracks around the back of the red stair, and that pump will give a lot of the intel that, well, we've separated you. You can blow your way through. You've got the potential of an impact in pocket if you need to go for a big rotate, or you shoot your way, but it's very audible. So taking the fight, depending on when you do it, depending on how much attention you want to drive yourself, if any, is the big risk and the big sort of payoff here. But the slow spread of FaZe players is meeting the Liquid players here on this eastern side. They're wanting to try and find a bit of a bite round the back. They're hoping the Liquid players get a little bit antsy with the movements and the momentum that's steadily encompassing this top floor. It's all the way across. It's a big round hold, and they've cut off the rotations, most importantly. So if any of these players are suddenly under pressure, they have to take laundry, but there's a body not too far away. If they want to try and hit white, it's there too. It's a steady moving of that Twitch drone and removing of parts. Sexy Cake hops out of there. He realizes the pressure is mounting, and that leaves just that one body, that one sole player up on the top. And he's not looking too healthy right now.
Now gotta stay put there, not move. There is still some LV lances left and will be used now to try and get rid of the shields. PSK's under some pressure now. Impacts will be tossed in, but will not be dealing the damage that is necessary. FaZe is inside on that top floor and are able to pick up the first kill. Astro starts off the tally. One underway. And Nitro, however, tossed up from Nask onto the ceiling, will be able to respond onto Astro. Bringing it back. 4-on-4. Palu still aggressive onto the pillars here, is in a very key position. Can shut down any reading room take that might occur. And as they're about to move in, it is going to be a potential shot that comes through from Palu here onto Souls.
Wow, Moringa locks off one, but suddenly Cyber's found his way around into the close corners. He shoots at the Banshee, but there was a body waiting for his approach either way. They have this down. It was a trade situation. It puts them in the man advantage, so it might have been called by the body that went down, but with 10 seconds, you can't focus on that because there's more important work to be done. It starts here. Nesk on the close door. The diffuser's drop. There's one more, and there's a shotgun. Both. Cuts him through.
No way you're allowed to do that.
Nesk tore that door open and tore them apart. They are getting heated on that stage.
Playing close. They're getting heated indeed. Playing close, and it's okay if you pick up that first kill, but he was allowed to swap over to his shotgun, which takes a bit of time. The repick was not quick enough, and you should be aware, if it's an SMG, that is most likely going to be empty right after that comes through. You should have been able to go for the repick. You might have had an opportunity to go for a plant, but either way, Liquid are leading, and Liquid are extending that lead as it's currently 1-4. And now Kitchen Service is being pulled out yet once again. The Warden will make its re-entry. And why not? There's been so many smokes being tossed in. There's been so many flashbangs attempted to be used. And as you see again, Nask just allowed to clutch that.
Yeah, that really should have been FaZe's kill on the corner. They had time, they had a moment, but the pressures, the communication, the energy. Oh, it's starting to boil. Liquid tie another round in a row, put themselves 4-1 on their defensive split, put themselves in a very good position to lock off Cafe in this level. They are angling themselves for more and more. I will look towards Nesk, who's picked up the Warden instead of Palu, as before. It's an equally fantastic operator in those hands, but solely with that gun, that kid, and that concern towards the pushes and angles that FaZe love to do, which is those very well-placed smokes against those sightlines, those kind of setups.
Why is the wall reinforced from one? Okay, it's probably just time management. I'm trying to find out if there will be a particular reason why the wall and bakery towards the kitchen has been reinforced one way from either side. But there is no little hole above that, so it will not be to toss a C4 over or to bounce grenades off. Probably it's just because the player was already there putting down a shield and instantly went afterwards. And talking about that shield, that is definitely what Cyber tries to deal with right now. Putting up these concussions, and well, Moringa will be there to catch them, make sure they detonate. And as we now see the impacts being tossed in, I'm not quite sure if the shield has been taken care of.
Well, Cyber is looking to see if he can get just a singular point to pull away from this bakery hold as Cameraman tries to lock off that small bake rotation around the backside of the red corridor. You can see Bullet.
Again.
Yeah, caught as it goes round. They are dedicating a lot here to the bottom of this staircase to make sure they have a hold, but they've also got this extension around the back too. The grenade pops round, but Sexy Cake pops off. Takes care of one and slow drifts his way around the small bay towards the prep room away from Small Bakery. It's Bullet that gets Nesk on the backside. That's Kochek that falls, and that allows these blue bodies to start to flood in. There's the cross, and there's the big rifle, and there's another swing. Cyber is able to find the point, and instantly, as soon as Nesk fell, they had Small Bake, they had momentum, and now they've been able to take over a lot of that side of what they could not manage before.
Be making it really difficult for Paolo on the site right here. There is still plenty of time left. We'll be dealing with the player in Kochek. That's Nitro. Will get it. Bullet will down. Now there's 2 left in the bakery. One is actually in the side. Cyber came through Freezer. It's only up to PSK now in a 1v3 situation. Astro has that diffuser. Needs to get planting very soon here. 60 seconds. You cannot allow PSK to get into a position where it could potentially stall this out, where he could potentially clutch this out. As he descends from the red stairs now. Will be spotted out by the player. Oh, the miss a shot right there from the Caesar X twice. But the plant will go down in the meantime, and as soon as he stands up, the shot will hit, and the kill will be there. FaZe able to pick up a second round themselves, staying themselves and keeping themselves into this match, making sure that they'll stay competitive for the second half, because you do not want to go into a 5-1 split when Liquid is having all that momentum to go with.
Losing sight of Cyber is a terrifying prospect in this game, because he will show up somewhere else entirely on the map in a new position to start a new push or to take a new body. He's so good at just consistently being a problem for any team they play against. Any team, he has been the man where if he's not involved in the entry confrontation, he's helping set it up. He's helping put the pressure that needs to be done, and that drive from a player, that fearlessness, is absolutely shining this tournament.
It is definitely. He's like a sneaky assassin. He started off the push by going through Small Bake, able to pick up the 2 kills of the players out there, and then rotated around, found himself inside of the freezer to lock off the site control as a result. And now, as you look at it, you would actually look back on that round, and I would say the early round went pretty well for Liquid. There was 2 concussions, 2 impacts, 2 LV lances used to try and get rid of the shield, and yet it stands. And you're like, how? How, when there's only 2 ADSs, you do not manage with that much utility in your pocket to get rid of the shield? So what do they do instead? Well, they just send Cyber around the corner. Send him in Small Bake. Let him get the kills. Worked out. Able to clear it out, and from there on, FaZe able to snowball the rest of the site, snowball the rest of the map.
So if you haven't guessed, we're just having a very quick rehost now as we get our players back in. It's a little bit of a halftime oranges. It's get yourself in, get your heads screwed back on 4-2. It's a pretty standard split.
Yep.
For Cafe, it's familiar. It's how it often goes down. It's not too out there, but it's worth also looking at. This was the sort of split, I believe, that we saw earlier. Was it in the Cafe? Was it, or is it 5-1 at the turn of the half?
I think it was 4-2.
Oh yeah, it was 4-2 when they played Empire against it.
Yep.
But in that game, Liquid started on their attacks. So 4-2 on their defenses. And I guess that's that terrifying prospect, because their attacks were very, very creative. There was a lot of diversity. Yeah. There was the Amaru up around the backside towards the new sort of balcony around the back of the Maestro, the cover from the audio that comes through. They're a very good attacking team. They are very consistent at pushing the objective as well. Their balance and dance around utility, not to say FaZe isn't, but they haven't had as long to sort of counter-prep and counterplay against this, because FaZe came in with Cafe. They came in with Cafe and they played Cafe throughout the groups. Liquid didn't. It was very secret, very secretive.
Yeah, they've hidden it for a long time. Now they're playing it to make top 4. That's what's at stake here. The Maverick will be 6 picked out. A Hibana will be coming in, and the Legion will make way for a Frost on FaZe. Of course, the Frost will be there to potentially deny any early round shenanigans. Maybe FaZe afraid of Liquid pulling a Amaru themselves as well. What better way to stop that from just catching her right into a Frost mat as she jumps in any of these windows?
It's, yeah, the old-fashioned Pogmat. It's the way of taking a team that does love to be quick and aggressive by surprise. Yeah, the one that goes behind the cigar shop sort of, well, shop,
it's
counter.
Default, but it's, if you don't know it, if you don't know it's there.
Well, yeah, if you don't know it's there, you've got to think of the stress of when you're in that room. Is if you're in that room, you're constantly at the threat of trying to find the first angle on the fight across the doorway. And it's a delicate dance, and you swing around and you're trying to get as wide as you can, and
yeah,
you've got a lot of focus elsewhere. And if it goes unchecked and uncontested, it can sometimes go, well, big.
And it's very often a spot as well where players will decide to try and challenge Piano, but then suddenly want a drone, so they'll just hop over the counter to quickly go on their drones in a safe spot. Well, if you didn't drone out the spot, as a Nitro is being prepared right here, it could actually land right on Palu and on Moringa. There he comes! Oh, will not be able to pick up a kill. Palu just able to survive with about 4 HP. Moringa not taking a single point of damage. That Nitro could have already ended the round before it even started.
That was so close. A little bit of a difference in the arc, a little bit of a pop of that earlier, and that would have been a double unbelievable moment there that almost came through, and Palu is going to be thanking his stars as he finds himself playing a slightly more timid game. You now have big concerns. If any of those Goyos pop near you, that's your day done. If those smoke canisters get a little bit too close, that's you dangerously done, and you still have a lot to try and get through with the team, including the aforementioned shields, as well as obviously any of those Banshees that will be screening or burning ADSs to alleviate the pressure on those only 2 frag grenades that you have. It's dangerous corners around Pixel. It's a lot of utility jungling. Oh, or you just take the head off the man like that.
Jesus, Palu, dirty. Just able to take down Bullet. One of these impact players on FaZe. It's not yet the Cyber that you really want to find, because he has been able to have such big impacts, especially on the attack, but you cannot help but realize that that Nitro was supposed to kill him and Moringa at the same time, and yet it failed, and yet Palu will just be able to pick up the kill as Sexy Cake just spots a man rotating back and forth, and now will make his position known, knows he's behind the shield, and Cyber will be stuck. He's going to be pressured, probably to rotate. I know, you cannot go nowhere way. He's completely stuck down on literally every single angle.
Yeah.
And Sexy will be able to pick him up.
There was no way for Cyber to get out of that situation.
Yes, he could jump in freezer. That's the safe way.
Okay, I thought that was locked. He took a dangerous gambit instead and paid the price. I thought that was locked, and that's why he went for the wide swing, but he took the fight instead, and you wonder if that was the right decision. I guess we're going to be proved when there's only 40 seconds left. They're eyeing up the top of the skylight here with Souls offering the countenance from before. Cameraman has the back line on the white stairs with the Goyo shield to pop to buy them at least 10 seconds on the swing round with the Banshee, and that canister going. It forces the Liquid players slightly further away. They've got to try and dig their way across the top as they have. The desk starts to fall, as does that back line. Cameraman wants to swing back round, but they're going to stick it behind the default and hope that they can hold on to the cover, but it's Astro able to get one more. Palu pre-fires the rotation on the split side, but it's a post plant. Buys them a very precious amount of time. Slips past! Astro gets one, gets away! Which is a big possible moment here as it leaves just Nesk in a 2 versus nobody! Unbelievable retake here. They've just got to clarify the intel that they're alone here. He has the quad and they have 26 seconds. They're playing it cautious. But as soon as they realize that that's down and that's just theirs for locking, well, that is a FaZe hold.
I have no clue he's stuck in the Frostmat there. They're happy about it, that's for sure. The shouts are coming out. It could have been an ace if he would have secured it, but it doesn't really matter, right? The round is all that matters at that point. And at the moment that the cover goes off of the rotation, because there could be maybe someone sneaking in from Cocktail Balk, he sneaks past. Perfect timing there from FaZe, and able to at least put themselves around closer to Liquid to get, you know, fight and work towards that equalizer. And then you start wondering, how did it go wrong? And as we are looking at the replays here, we see Paulo starting off with a very good first pick, and then Sexy Cake able to get a second. That's a 2-man advantage right here. Yes, downs are coming in, and you're wondering, how do you lose a 2-on-5 situation? Well, here is why. Astro just in such a powerful spot, able to pick up a double kill, rotating around for the triple, and able to get the defuse in the end. And then you find ourselves on a 3-on-4, but you cannot keep relying on a singular person. Let's just put it up like that first, right? So it was Astro popping off now, able to pick up these skills where he might not have been allowed to do that. So they got to make sure that they show up with the full team the next time around to go to that top floor. Either way, good round from FaZe, able to bring it back, and as we are going to the bottom floor, FaZe is soon to end. We see the alibi coming out from Souls. Not quite sure where the prisoners have been located. Never mind. I was going to say.
Another quick rehost.
Another quick rehost.
As we find ourselves back in...
no reinforcements. I was like,
from where are they? Where are they going? Oh, nowhere. From a very selfish point of view, imagine if Astro had known about that 5th body and got the ace, because that would have been both teams opening their defense with a single player getting an ace on the top. And... hey, sometimes these stories write themselves. Sometimes the stories of these showdowns and how these teams clash heads, it's like it's straight out of a TV show.
It is a TV show.
And that explains a lot.
I mean, it's a broadcast.
Are we on TV?
Maybe somewhere someone has put us on the TV.
Maybe.
No, I mean, there's plenty of people watching, so the chances are big someone is watching on TV. If you're watching on TV, let us know, so we know if it's a TV show or not. Okay. Either way.
Yeah, back to Siege, back to talking about the game, and back to the fact that we're now on a 4-3. FaZe have been able to tie themselves in 2 rounds in a row, the last of their attacks and the first of their defenses. It gives them a really sweet bit of momentum, unfortunately broken up by the rehost, which is, you know, nobody's fault. It just sort of happens, and we had one on the split just before. It gives them a bit of a moment to, I guess, talk over the success, talk over what they might be able to bring now and what they can build on the back of this. Because to be fair, that was, as you said, it was a fight against all odds. It was everything's going wrong, let's stick it. They stuck it, and it was a hell of a play. But the only thing that you can really take from that, apart from maybe the changes you might make structurally on the next swing, is the energy, the momentum, the reprieve of almost pulling off that sort of play.
You could hear how much it meant for FaZe when they managed to pick up that round, because they were behind 2-on-5, mind you. Of course, Sexy K got himself stuck in a frost map. Really fortunate. Happens.
I mean, we called it at the beginning.
Yeah, I said, you know...
if they go unchecked on a fast push, it's dangerous. They're a fast push team. They're a team that sees opportunity and seizes opportunity.
And normally in a 2-on-5 situation, if you lose one to a frost map, it's not going to mean the end of the round.
No.
Right? Well,
usually.
In this case, it did, because Astro went absolutely big, able to pick up 2 kills through the wall into Piano. Well, then suddenly it's an effective 2-on-2 situation, and all you need to do is just have the right timing, sneak it past the plant as sneak it past the cover as the plant goes down. And that's what happened there. 3-4, map number 1. Whoever loses will be flown back to Brazil as their tournament would be over. Not this map, the entire series dies.
Yeah.
We're in best of 3s now.
We're not quite we're not quite in the danger zone, but you look towards what we've got coming up. I mean, it's another coast as the 3rd map, isn't it? It is so much coast we've seen over this tournament.
And I cannot help to think, but weren't there a lot of people like saying like, why do we never see coast? And now watch SI. Here's the coast. They're everywhere.
I feel like, because it came out a few times in the group stages, but in the deciders it's been pretty constant. It's well known, and I think what it does in situations between these two teams in the current meta, coast doesn't offer itself to the meta too strictly. There's not enough space for coast.
Yeah.
Physically to be in the meta. And what I mean by that is you'll still see new operators played. You'll see Aruni brought because of what she can offer. Iana with the frag grenades is often taken into the situation. But you can't truly construct a hold with the sight and the creativity that a lot of teams love to stretch on bigger maps with a lot more walls that you can set up these huge angles and anchor holds. Those haven't really changed recently.
Yeah, I mean, that's it, right? The bigger a map, the more creative you can get with your setups and with your holds. And the smaller a map or the smaller the side. Take a look at Chalet, for example. If you go to that bottom floor, how do you extend? Like you can maybe go into Trench, but if you then lose control of Trench, suddenly the whole side is opened up. So it's not really what you want either. You want to build up that onion ring we keep on talking about, right? You want to set up multiple layers of defenses outside the side.
Many layers.
You can fall back from.
Yeah. That's the dream. That's the goal. And that's map 2 and 3. We're a bit ahead of ourselves now because we've only seen a taste of the defense so far with FaZe now taking over the mantle. We're getting an idea of Liquid's attack again, but we had a bit of an idea of that earlier when they 4-2'd Empire on their split. And beyond strong. It was cut off before it really got into a swing there, I think, and obviously a couple of moments went away from them, and then it was pulled back pretty well by FaZe on this clutch situation. But I want to see the extension of this across all of the sites. I want to see what happens if they start to meet more of a heat. Where does Liquid's attack go on this map when it's put under pressure? Because in a lot of moments and a lot of reasons in the Empire game, it really wasn't early on, and we didn't quite see Liquid fully tested. As I expect, FaZe will probably be able to give them a really good challenge here.
They should be able. They know Liquid very well, of course. These teams have been playing each other throughout the regular seasons, and as you can maybe hear, the clapping in the background is starting, and that means that we are getting underway. You can definitely see it as we are on the cams. Round number 8 is about to commence. Now, we were supposed to go to the bottom floor before. I'm not sure if that's still going to be sticking. Yes, we go. Kitchen service, kitchen cooking will be coming underway. And let's see how Liquid will attack that. As we get a DC. We're missing someone for now. We'll wait just a little bit.
We'll be
patiently waiting to finally see round 8 in just a couple of seconds.
It's been a long day in a very hot room, so the servers.
Luckily, the lights are dim now.
Luckily, yeah, the lights get dimmed in our little sector. But, it's, again, time to talk. They cannot talk with the coaches during this, obviously. The coaches can sort of give them fist bumps and raise the morale and the mental in that manner. They're always a presence, especially in Latin American teams and the region. I love how the coaches are so involved with the teams.
I love it. Like when you're watching as well, you see them like making all kinds of gestures. Like the closer they get, the higher the arms will go.
They feel every single moment of a round. And, coaches and regions have very different styles, and there's always these different approaches. But a constant that's always been with Latin America teams is their coaches are on the stage, off the stage, you assume, which we obviously don't get the pleasure of seeing, part of everything. They're part of the energy. They're part of the family. They're part of the team. They part of the momentum. Just them being on stage, just them, as you said, getting close, getting their arms up and keeping that alive. And, it's 6 people with voices screaming on the stage against the world because obviously, unfortunately, fans can't be here to be those extra voices. But these coaches, alongside the players, they fill the role of a room of thousands of fans, I think.
Wait until the coach is going to start chanting their own name. Like, they quit.
It wouldn't surprise.
It wouldn't surprise me either.
I would be very happy if that happened. But it's so great to see, and I think it's one of the reasons that we've seen such a great tactical lead-in from these teams over this period of time. Is this closeness, this sort of, I don't know if solidarity is the word. It's they're all standing together, sure, but
I think like the beauty of the coaches we see with LATAM is they're very as the backup is being given there. By the way, that's also
when I said they were close, this is what Yeah,
you need to make sure that your carry is able to perform.
Get them relaxed.
Get them relaxed. Make sure that their flicks are going to be on point.
Did you see Miloš's video of Silence playing piano?
I did see that.
Exceptionally talented pianist.
I was kind of sad that I was already in my hotel room.
I know.
And I missed it. Like,
they was playing, there's a piano downstairs in the hotel, and Miloš caught him playing a sonata this morning, and it was very, very talented.
Yeah, but the point I was trying to make...
Sorry, I interrupted.
Before I got interrupted by the backrubs that were coming in. Surely very welcome by any of the players. But the point I was trying to make is like, it's so nice to see when when these coaches have such a big influence. And it's
Oh,
in these
100%.
small things, right? Because
100%.
every single time when FaZe lose around, you see them all giving boxes to each other, right? Just quickly touch each other, just be like, you know, we can go on. But like when they don't, it is that coach that is like, come on, boys, let's go. Like, elevates the mood again. Like, you are there to make sure that they stay in the positive, like the most positive mood they can be. And of course, you'll talk when things go wrong. Of course, you call in that tactical timeout if it's necessary and things need to be discussed if you see that it goes wrong. But you do not need to use your voice to make sure that your boys are doing well. And that is the beauty of it.
Well, I've just gotten word we have everybody back in. Thank you for bearing with us as we got ourselves onto the second half and the split of this first map on Cafe. If you missed it, well, FaZe has just gone and taken their first defense, pushed the 4-2 to a 4-3, and now we head down to Kitchen. They locked off Bar on the very top floor. It came down to almost an ace. The last man was MIA, as far as the defenders were concerned, trapped in a frost map. Slightly further away, they got the defuse off and popped off not long after. There's been a bit of a lull, a bit of a break as we got everything rehosted, and now we find ourselves down on the Kitchen. And it's a second attempt for Liquid to see if they can lock off a little bit more success on their attacks.
Well, they had a good round, let's put it like that. It's just unfortunate that there was a player that decided to be like, hey, we want to win rounds as well, so we're not going to let you pass much further than this. Either way, round number 8. This is where Liquid has the opportunity to show that their mental fortitude is among some of the best in the world, you can almost say. As Cyber here going for a spawn peek, not able to find anything yet, as I believe no one has spawned at Christmas. Cams are being taken care of though, so definitely people around, but it's Liquid that is not really falling for these spawn peeks, not for the early ones at least. And right now want to make sure that they take the initiative yet once again, because they did that so well during the previous round. It's the first Nitro gets popped without any point of damage coming in. That is 1 out of 2 Nitros they have. Yes, there's still 4 impacts available on Cameraman and Souls combined. Now, they might be used to create some vertical if there's only one person on site. If a drone goes in, this could be very dangerous for FaZe.
And that's the danger game that they're sort of bounding around in right now. It's, can they, I guess, hold that arm's length? Can they keep that lockdown? Cyber's going for that rotation, that roam. Nesk, in the meantime, is hunting people steadily further above. The Buck can do huge bits in terms of shepherding, but you've got to be able to get some consistent and kind of comfortable control over the top of mining. And with Cyber sort of bouncing around up and down the back of the white stairs, it's, I guess, down to how convinced they are he's not suddenly going to try and swing and put a bit of pinch pressure around on the back side of him. In the meantime, it's a little bit of a lull, a little bit of a wait as Sexy Cake steadily burns open this double wall. Astro is trying to find the toes of Sexy Cake sprays, but he slips away instantly. And what we saw, as well, talk after this, yeah.
It does.
Yeah, that was through the top, and that's Parlu finding the top of Bullet, sprayed against on the rotation, and Souls and Cyber instantly take the MO and say, we got to get out of here. There's a minute on, they've wasted plenty of time. They're going to instead fall down and see if they can lock a bit above the site instead, as Cameraman is going to offer that extended support round the bottom of Red, swings. But this is cut off. This is a bit of no man's territory. He's well aware that small bake window is being watched. He can't go too deep. It's going to try and play around the idea of come in, but we've still got vertical, so what are you going to do?
Now, Astro is using the shotgun, the M870. He was already a bit confused when he was speaking with the pistol rather with the MP7, but Soul's now trying to rotate back down as well. They realize literally nothing is coming down from that side, and it's a trade on either side. Cyber will go down, but Cameraman will be taking Paulo onto his tally. It leaves in a 3-on-4 situation now. Whilst you see Liquid pushing in, Moringa will be able to pick up a kill. Cameraman misses the first shots. Grenades are flying in, and the plant will go down. 45 seconds soon will be on the clock, unless Cameraman can stop this plant from happening.
Well, they're spraying over the top, but we're in a post-plant situation, and Souls is almost out of it entirely. But Nesk is the one that finds that final nail in the coffin. The spray comes over the back, but Nesk powers through and drops the man instead. Liquid. They clear all they need to find.
This is what I mean, by the way. Sorry. Sorry to
No, jump in.
We were talking about the coaches earlier on, and he's just going by every single member, just Come on, boys, let's go, let's go. We're taking that initiative. This is what we're talking about. This can be such a difference maker, knowing that you have someone like that behind you.
When your coach is your biggest fan.
That is when you have a good coach.
Oh, Lou, stop doing these things. Otherwise, the VOD will have to age gate it.
Oh man. But again, very, very strong attack right here coming down from Liquid, I have to say, and just picking up these frags, picking up these advantages. And as now, again, we see a Maverick being swapped out to Hibana. I believe we saw that before. It is going to be reading. That will be the next side, reading and dining. Now we saw quick plays coming down here previously. If you think of a UL, for example, a Amaru up the hatch is not very uncommon. Of course, there is no Amaru right now, but I still like to highlight it. There is the opportunity.
You want it. You're like willing it into, trying to will it into existence. No, this is very common. This extension of mirror over the top here. You hold this as a back line. You offer the security that you would if you're otherwise holding the top on, just in general, if you're trying to hold the site of bar. It gives you that stretch and extension, locking off here as well, because you can have a body that starts inside the mining room and inside the train room. It usually falls back as pressure starts to mount around the top, because with that hatch inside the kind of Christmas room and with the pressure that can come around from Cigar 2, it's dangerous to stay in this exact room. That backline that you set up with the eyes from White means that they can't really extend any further across there without then taking control of pillars in the side corridor. They can't dig themselves in, and even then, it's a firefight. You make these little pockets of no man's land with that hold around the White stairs and force them into a much more uncomfortable take against your back line.
Definitely have the opportunity to, indeed. Nast's just standing out there with the hammer, like, what do I sledge next, bots? Need to get out of these hatches, and Liquid allowing themselves to get these drones in quick. They are wanting to make quick work of these attacks, and as they're slowly getting ready, air jabs are being put up, and that means that the flanks will be covered for at least majority of it. And these mirror windows will be a point that they need to deal with, just as well as the shield has been covered off by a couple of these ADSs. How are they going to deal with it? They have these grenades. Do they have any other utility? Yeah, they have flashbangs. They even can use the Nomads if they feel like it. That is going to be 2. 3 ADSs gone. A grenade will be used. They actually got caught. Maybe they need to toss in another one if they want to get rid of that shield. And they need to do it quickly. They have it. Did he get the shield, however? That's the big question.
Well, Bullet's not going to stick around and find out. Instead, he threads his way. It's gone. There's a Banshee around the corner, which means they can't quite get the hot swing, but look at this. They've cleared themselves a pocket of space, and as I said before, that frees up Nesk to move in. I think there's a body inside kitchen, though. And they're waiting. Yeah, there is, and that could be deadly if it goes unchecked. It's Cameraman with that slow creep, with a C4, if he can get himself into a situation where he might be able to take a little bit out of this approach, make them feel uncomfortable in a space, in a pocket that they believe was. That was how the push came through for them last time. They had that little pocket of space. They found a plant in it. There's the C4.
That's an ADIC!
Oh, Cameraman
just pressed the button!
Cameraman pressed the button.
Oh!
Oh, that would have been the take. It's...
Oh, you can do it again.
Oh, wait. It's a hold. It's a bait. It's a play. It's a moment. And it's only 40 seconds left. That will open. And that is the swing round on the close side. They haven't quite got themselves the big rotation in. It's just the angle as they hop and close pressure on the side of reading, but they still need to dig themselves to the door. And in the meantime, Souls, he's dug himself outside the door. Swings with one as Cyber goes down. Cameraman rotates up around the back of Red, but it's Moringa that's able to get that trade in. The drone spots the body. There's a Claymore, and they're going to take the fight too. Cameraman, with a bit of a drift and a fadeaway, heads back down Red, and a canister gets popped. That puts the diffuser cold. That puts Palu in a tricky situation, but Moringa gets it back up, and with that kill, they've got to quickly get their skates on and get themselves inside the site. He's got to plant it, stick it, and hope. But with PSK getting some cover, there's a stun. There's a man holding on to that F key for as long as he possibly can, and PSK!
No, there was a mirror window as well. He could have just literally peeked the other way around. Oh, these rounds, like there's... Okay. I'm calm, no worries. It's match point for Liquid nonetheless, though. Their attacks managed to stick, but just keep in mind, the diffuser was dropped. It took them up until 7 seconds left on the clock for them to pick it back up. Then they rotate around, they get stuck into a Banshee. You should know where they're coming from in that case, because Well, the diffuser was down in the middle of the hallway. There's only really one place they can go, as you see right now from cameraman. And then the decision gets made. I'm not quite sure. I might be completely wrong though. It might just be that there is some pressure coming down from the white stairs. It doesn't look like it. No, everybody's literally here, and he's down there inside of reading. He could have rotated over to white if they had the information and just get the kill from the mirror window.
I'm curious if the kill on the door of reading gave them the impression that's where the plant was going to go down, because they would have had the call that and this is purely theory crafting, because obviously we're not in the comms with the team.
Of course not. No, look, and I will never say like you made the mistake.
No. You can never say that, because you never really know what intel they're working with. We are sitting here omnipotent and omniscient, and we know everything. And it's those situations where you're like, if this had gone, but it's those situations where you go, there's a reason that the player did this. And my theory that I'm going to put down is that they dropped the diffuser around Pillar. They then suffered the death on the door of reading, so probably assumed the plant would go there rather than fireplace, because there was that active pressure, there was that active sort of push coming from that angle. They'd done the opening work on both sides, to be fair, but fireplace still had that construction on the backside. It still had that mirror window on white, and they were aware that there was still a body presence there. They took I'm going to say it's a gamble, but it's a gamble on information that they thought they had. Again, purely theory crafting.
You know, and maybe that Banshee sound didn't really come through well. Maybe calls are happening at the, you know, it's all these kind of things. I would say go for the mirror window, for example, because if there is someone, you know, you're going to maybe be in a post-plant situation, he would have been able to get it. Just lack of information, of course, because otherwise, if he would have known 100% sure where he was going to be, he would have been on that mirror window. There is no two ways about it.
No, if you're on that mirror window, you're still in the situation of guaranteeing yourself a fight, because it was a 3 versus 1.
Yeah.
They would have had somebody watching that mirror window. You take that risk of, can I click quicker? But you've also got a mirror window to offer you that assistance to know when the peak's going to happen, because you're the one that dictates the pace. You can pop it with a pre-fire and generally be rewarded. The timer was as close as it could have possibly been to trying to stick that diffuser down, and the cover was slightly further away. These things happen. Unfortunately, it's happened to FaZe. They find themselves now suffering on map point for at least 3 more dances if they want to try and push us to OT. They were almost able to start pulling some success back, but obviously since then we've had a bit of a rehost, and now we've had a bit of a tactical timeout. They had a conversation with the coach. They've had this discussion about what they can do and what they can bring next, and now it's seeing if they can actually formulate it into a hold, into a bit of a resurgence on Cafe. This is also FaZe's map, I believe.
Yes, it is. It is FaZe's map that we're currently playing. But, I mean, that doesn't have to mean anything, because basically every single map
it's true.
that people have picked so far this tournament, I believe, have been... Is that the mirror window can open up again? All right. Quick pressure coming down there from Liquid, who are not looking to slow down as I get interrupted in the middle of my statement. Looking to make quick work of it again, and this time, I believe, by making sure they have that top floor control. At least they took care of the mirror window already that the Maestro is playing behind, but I might be wrong again. So just holding off these angles right here, looking to find Bullet. Just trying to spray aggressively, throwing in these flashbangs, making sure they can get rid of that shield. Now the Goyo pops, and Bullet is not going to be able to peek that for at least a little bit. They're opening up into Piano. This shows that they do want to take that top floor control, but 1, 2, 3 Nitros, and Cyber currently has his in hand.
Palu is hoping that that kill drifts into his location. We've seen Liquid be very good in their setup and their pinch. The C4 goes! Cyber with the long arm, and he slips away. They didn't quite catch them on the rotation, but almost got him with the double down on the C4. Potentially massively rewarded. Sexy Cake, well, he survives, scraped and banged and full of splinters and shrapnel from the floor. And with the haunting memory of seeing a friend blow up, there's Palu with that cover. Round on the back, still waiting on White to offer that anvil to the hammer of the push that was supposed to come in across the top. Bullet is locked in on Lumber. And Sexy Cake makes sure he then gets locked out and swings for a double souls. Follows Bullet instantly out the top floor, which falls. 40 seconds left now in a 4 versus 2. 1C4 still in the hands of Astro, and Cyber's on the board, which is still always a massive worry when you're trying to aggress against this team. But with a grenade, with a lot of utility still in the pockets from most of these operators. They have plenty in their arsenal as the push starts to coalesce here down the backside of pillars. Cyber finds one, is able to escape before the second gets that revenge spray as the Goyo shield buys time. There it is. One more for Sexy Cake, but Astro is this last force remaining through the wall. 4 seconds off the plant, and Astro clutches it out for FaZe.
A quad kill coming through, and that means we're not done yet. Stop the music as we are going into the next very round.
That was dramatic.
That was dramatic.
Even production didn't know what was going on.
We aren't done yet. Stop the dramatic music. I didn't going on.
I didn't hear no bell.
It is the clutch that came through. It was a very close one at that. And 4-6 current score. Liquid again with a good attack. The Nitro comes in. Liquid manages to bring it around, but then again, Astro with the clutch factor. Twice now in this matchup. Keeps them into it. Twice now, he wins a round for them. Can he continue that? Can they do it 2 more times?
I mean, 2 more times.
2 more times and you find yourself in overtime, and then suddenly this map that has been so dominant by Liquid is up for debate on who takes it. And that is weird to see.
The hot pings leading to the kill there. Sexy Cake had the right decision. He couldn't have stuck the plant in that situation. They knew how close they were. And to be fair, Astro, well, if Sexy Cake had the right decision, he had many of them in a row. The first kill in the movement to try and lock off the door, knew that they were going to go for that objective because they had no other choice, wanted to push that advantage. In that situation, when there's only a handful of seconds left, you know technically you can force a 1 versus 1 because there's going to be one man planting and the other one is going to be trying to hold the cover.
Exactly.
Had the hot pings and the intel and took it, then played it and moved off to a different space. Didn't go for the second hot ping push because in that situation it's, well, I'll either wait the 2 seconds, he'll have to plant again, or I'll hold this different angle where he's going to get to me in time and I'll have to spray somewhere he doesn't expect it.
I was going to be so critical of FaZe in that round, but they managed to win it, so I'll just keep it to it. But you got a man advantage, and then the man runs out, and then suddenly you lose 2 people on the top floor. It was so unnecessary what happened. Luckily for you guys, you have Astro on your team, because otherwise that would have been a round for Liquid. That would have been a map for Liquid, and you would have been 1 leg out of the tournament already. FaZe, you escaped my wrath this one time. Let's put it up like that. There is still plenty of time for you to receive it, though, so let's make sure you do not give me a reason to. As Liquid want to make their attack stick. They want to make the map of FaZe sticking to their pocket.
Well, 1 of 4 C4s is gone. They went for the early play there, but didn't quite get the rewards that they wanted. They've been very successful, and usually in the worst case, just close to successful. Still doing huge chunks of damage, but look at this, Moringa. He's determined to try and get himself set up and punish them for the early pace and the aggression that they might be trying to put back against them. They've been already shepherded into a very tight corner here. They spent a lot of time clearing the top floors the last time they approached around this sort of play, and they're going to make sure they don't find themselves in the same situation. A messy spray rewards 1 either side as Souls drops out. He's surviving, but on a sliver of health. Moringa has been able to take the top control now, with PSK offering that kind of ledge of support. The C4 gets shot out before it's able to do any damage, but look at FaZe. They're like pulling back and biting every single way.
Ooh, the vertical there almost giving away the game and almost giving away the player. More air jumps are being set up to deny any flank or any push outwards. And as Sexy Cake trying to sneak in, he might be heard here by the Banshee to come through. Souls is on 1 HP. Is he checking the corner? Yes, he will. And somehow gets the kill. Sexy Cake able to live here on 10 HP. And now a minute is left on the clock for Liquid to try and close this out. Another one will fall. Palu will be able to pick 1 more up, but Astro's still alive. Is he going to be able to make this stick? The Nitro somehow doesn't pick up the kill, but he's still alive. 45 seconds. FaZe 2v4.
If they were able to take care of Sexy Cake there. Oh, cameraman! You can't get away with that, and you don't. Moringa has the cover on the door, leaving just Astro and 40 seconds, now 30, to work with. Freezer hatch was opened, as I said. That not being popped would have been massive in terms of the hold and the defense and the solidity it offers. The grenades roll around and you try and move yourself into a position where they think you might not be. It's another grenade around the backside. They're still playing fishing for Astro, and they find it, and Liquid find that first map in this best of 3.
Very dominant first map from Liquid, you have to say, and FaZe on the back of clutches of Astro some couple of times, able to bring it home, and just look at them instantly huddling together. Quickly discuss, quickly keep this momentum going, stay in this positive mind space now. It's the beautiful hair of Sexy Kegs quickly getting a pat over the head. Liquid, 7-4. Map 1 is underway, map 1 is taken, and up to map 2 we go soon, but first, there's some stuff to talk about.
We'll leave that to the eggheads on the desk as we throw it over to Milos and the boys.
Thanks so much, guys, and unfortunately Ace isn't here when we're talking about eggheads, but we're going to try to fill in the blanks nonetheless. Demo and X are on here with me on the analyst desk, and my god, Team Liquid are such an